Hello, hello, crafty peeps. Welcome back to my channel, Crafty-ish Kristyn. Today it is time for a whip and chatty rant. What is a whip and chatty rant? You may be asking yourself. WIP, W-I-P, stands for work in progress, and a chatty rant is me chatting and ranting about the goings on over the past week or so. Today, my work in progress is Nightfall. This is by the artist Cat Fedora, and it is from MuniMade. It is a 60 by 76 centimeter square drill canvas. This is the first square drill canvas that I have purchased from MuniMade, and I got it on Black Friday, I believe. So far, I have done 2 release paper rows, and for some reason, and I sat down the other day, I opened up 2 going up top. Don't know why I did that, but it did. So we are going to be working around here today. I will say the darker colors have a ton of trash. This is the amount of trash that I have collected for just this section. The blacks are very trashy. I am having to pretty much inspect every single tray full of dark drills that I use. The black, the 310, the High Duncan, the 823, and the 3799 are especially, Duncan's just going to wave his tail on the camera. They are especially trashy. Yeah. You know, I mean, I expect that with the darker drills. I haven't run out of anything, so hopefully, you know, I won't. I do have spares in those colors if I did need them. I am not sure about their spare drill policy off the top of my head, just because I've never had to use it. But yeah, like you can just see the amount of blacks. And so I basically, if I put a tray of dark colors, I put them in the tray and I sit there and I shake the tray. I get all the curvy bottoms off because there's a lot of curvy bottoms. And then there's ones that have holes on the top. And then there's ones that have, you know, little side pieces. Yeah, I have noticed too, and I don't know if maybe I'm just not catching the drills in time, but there have been several instances where I have had a drill just like completely come off. Like I'll just look at it and I'm like, where did that drill go? Again, don't know if maybe that's just me not finding the, you know, the curved bottoms in time. I'm hoping it's not a case of the glue, because it doesn't seem like, you know, it doesn't seem like the glue is not sticky, but like right here, there is one popping up right there that I just noticed. So let's just, and I even rollered this and I feel like some are popping, which is odd because the grid is not, you know, really, really tight. I'm not having to crunch these in. So I don't know. We'll keep you guys informed and updated. The rest of the supplies. Bee's Crafty Corner release papers. I have my drills over here in a combination of square Tic Tacs and Elizabeth Ward containers. This is a brand new pen, isn't it? Special. This was a little gift from Mushy over at Dark and Creepy Diamond Painting. This is from Flawa Designs. Isn't that sweet? Isn't it so sweet? I've got some teal tweezers. Don't know. I think that came from an Orloa kit. I do have my little nail saving tool. This is a prototype from Ephemera 3D. Also, Ephemera 3D washi bottom tray prototype as well. Love this tray. Love, love, love. And I'm on brand apparently. Also using my Reid's Putty. The collaboration that I did, as well as Mushy, a Dark and Creepy Diamond Painting did, is live at Reid's Putty. I will put a link down in the description box to the individual putties, and there is one set where you can get, you know, hers and mine together. There's a bunch of stuff, like there's the putty, there's a cover minder, the whole thing. Here is a picture of what the Crafty-ish Kristyn putty duo combo looks like. Fabulous, fabulous. And the little bit scarier version of Mushy's, you know, with the murdery masks and skulls and all that stuff. Anyways, link will be in the description box down below to all of the stuff that I'm mentioning. And let me get zoomed in and we will get started. Don't go anywhere. All right, let me get my first color. Before I forget, I hope everybody is doing awesome, well, and amazing. And if you are not, I hope it gets better for you soon. Because why? You know why. Because you are awesome. Yes, you are. You may not feel awesome every day or any day, but you are. Yes. We all need a little reminder of that every once in a while. Yes, we do. Let's see. Diamond painting updates. Well, I finished my Oraloa kit, the round kit with the adorable little picnicking friends. That one came out very, very nice, although I've mentioned it before. The grid spacing with some of the colors was not what I would like. You know, when you want to multi-place a giant color blocking section, the last thing you want to do is have to flip your pen around every time you put down a row of, 10 drills and straighten everything out. And that is exactly what I had to do with a bunch of the colors. So I don't know if it's the overall grid or maybe just certain colors were maybe a little bit smaller than, I don't know. I do not know. I am not a diamond painting expert, and I'm not allowed in factories because I'd probably hurt myself. So I don't know, but kind of frustrating. And, it kind of makes the finished project not exactly what I had hoped for, just because I don't feel like the round drills and some of the colors were they're not as snug together as they are in others. But, is it a huge problem at the end of the day? No, not really. So I did get that one done, which means I need to kit up a new round drill painting. I did ask in my Facebook group, and if you would like to check out the Facebook group, there is a link in the description box. Just please answer the questions, because I have to ask questions, to make sure that people aren't robots, and to also make sure that people understand the rules, because there's certain rules that I would like everybody to follow. Nothing horrible, but I mean, I feel like everybody should be able to agree to, not be a jerk, and no bullying, no harassment, no, just no being mean. But we, apparently adults need to be reminded of these things, which is sad, which is very sad. But anyways, I asked in my Facebook group, I have, these 4 paintings for rounds, and, which one should I kit up? And there was, there were votes for all 4. And the top 2 were a round kit from Diamond Art Studio UK and a round kit from Rokari. And upon further reflection, I'm going to save the Rokari because it is very pink and black themed. And I think that one might be better suited for January. Stay tuned for more potential information about Pink and Black event 2026, perhaps. So I think I'm going to save that one for January, which means I will be kitting up the Diamond Art Studio UK one. And it is an older kit from what I was told. And they are acrylic round drills. And now they do have resin drills. But obviously, if it's an older kit, which is fine. I don't mind round acrylics. It's square acrylics where, they just need to be thrown into the dumpster as far as I'm concerned, but that's just me. So I will be doing that very, very soon. And I should be getting my Ever After order. I did place an order on the 4th of July because they were having a sale. And I did get a little, an email saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. But you know how sometimes you get an email, but they print the label basically, but your item hasn't actually shipped. That is the status I'm at. You know, I wish, and I'm sure, you know, companies have no control over printing a label and having it say that. But it's like, don't get me excited. You know, I want as soon as I get that email that says, you know, there's progress on your order, I want it right now. I know I'm not the only impatient one where you see that and you're like, yes. Then you're like, oh man, I still gotta wait. So I do have 2 round drill paintings coming from them. They were on my list as well, but since I have not gotten them yet, I'm going to just move ahead with the Sunlit Fields from Diamond Art Studio UK. So that is round drill painting update. Oh, I know I had people ask about this. I did do my first mini from the Diamond Design Co. The kit up that I did. I'll link that down below as well. That description box is going to be chunky. This is the first one from the We Go Together Like series. And, you know, I like it. Making things that are round and have curves is hard when you have such a small canvas, you know, because you only have so much real estate. And you're using something square to try to make something that is round. In order to make like a perfect circle, you would have to go really, really big. But overall, I do think the effect is very cute and it was enjoyable to work on. The drills are resin. They went together super nice. There was barely any trash. So yeah, that is canvas number 1 from that little mini set. I did bring that over here so I could remember to show people. Because I know sometimes, you know, people are like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to order because it's a new company, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. There is one of those. Okay, I am going to avoid the number 1 symbol because that is the black. I don't want to spend time trying to sort through the drills on camera. Let's see. I did a row on the, what do you call it? The mushroom forest canvas. And whoo doggies, man, that one has so much confetti. I did 1 released paper section, 1. And I did post this in the members only pictures that I put on the channel. And if you're interested, there is a link in the description box down below. Just gonna have a permanent thing on my video for that. A 1 release paper section, it took me 3 hours. 3 because of the amount of confetti. And, you know, stepping back, when you look at the canvas, it does look good. I'm just, you know, I'm questioning whether or not the amount of time versus the confetti payout. I'm not sure, you know, I'm still reserving judgment for the end product. But I have had lots of people say that, you know, oh, it looks really good. So I'm hoping, but man, I can only do 1 row of that. And then I need a break because that's just intense. I don't know how some of you guys do these giant J-wall canvases and, you know, that's like your only whip. Oh my gosh, no. I've come to realize that confetti is not my favorite. I like some, you know, I want the detail, but I don't want to spend 3 hours on 1 release paper section. No, I need faster results than that. This image, I will say, is a nice blend of, you know, some confetti and some color blocking or line blocking, I should say. I know I've had somebody say that it looks very Diamond Art Club-esque, you know, with the rendering, which I agree. I do feel like, you know, it is, MuniMade is hand rendered, I believe. And so that does make sense because I could totally picture this being a Diamond Art Club rendered kit, just looking at it based on some of the DACs that I have done, which isn't a bad thing. You know, some people don't like the way some companies render and some don't. I personally, right now, would rather work on something like this than a computer-generated confetti party, you know? But I might change my opinion in, you know, a week or something. I might be like, oh, I really crave that confetti. Probably not, but I might. You never know. Okay, what symbol is that? That is the and symbol. Where is the and symbol? Why can I not see it? Why is my head touching the camera? Yikes. Let's see. So it's been, oh my gosh, it's probably been almost 2 weeks. Sassy Lassie went to camp. She had fun. Knew she would. Knew she would. She did not get hurt. Shocking. Because that girl is a walking, I don't know what. But if somebody's going to get hurt, usually it's her. She did not get hurt. No, you know, a little bit of a, you know, pinkish arms. The kids are responsible for putting their own sunscreen on. So, you know, how many kids are going to reapply sunscreen several times a day? Probably not many. But I don't know if the cabin they were staying in was like haunted or something. But several of the girls in her cabin, like four girls, they all hurt their ankles, like, you know, maybe twisted or sprained. Nobody broke anything, thank goodness. 4 girls hurt themselves in the same day from the same cabin on the same ankle. And my first thing was, did you get hurt? And she said, no. I was kind of surprised too. And I was like, yeah, because if somebody's gonna, you know, roll an ankle or need to go to the medical tent or whatever, it's gonna be her. So that was kind of a creepy thing. I was like, that's weird. That's really weird, you know? That many kids, all same ankle, same day, but they were in different areas at least. So I think one girl was like outside the swimming pool, one was on a trail, one was inside the bunk cabin or something. Dude, I got no idea. And nobody stole her shoes, which is awesome. Nobody borrowed her sunscreen and didn't give it back, which is awesome. So yeah, she's already ready to go next year. I'm like, well, you got a year, so you know, let's strengthen up those ankle bones just in case, because that just seems so weird to me. I was like, are we sure there wasn't, you know, some kind of curse or something? Just you know, but nope. That was good. And so while she was at camp, a teenager got an invite to a Renaissance fair. I know nothing about Renaissance fairs, so you know, there's me Googling, you know, what is a Renaissance fair? Because, I mean, I kind of have an idea, but not really. So it was a very, very, very last minute invite. And because we are not Renaissance fair connoisseurs, my first thought was, oh my gosh, do you have to dress up? And he goes, well, yeah, I mean, they're all dressing up. And I was like, okay, but we don't have a costume bin. You know what I mean? Like, we got some costumes, but not really Renaissance fair appropriate costumes. So naturally, I did what one does, and it was 7:30 at night, and I went to Amazon, and I'm trying to scroll through the costumes, you know, Renaissance fair costumes, saying, okay, would this work? And he's like, I don't know. Let me email my friend. And I'm like, okay. If we want overnight delivery or next day delivery, you know, like the clock is saying, you need to order within the next, you know, 20 minutes. So I'm like, let me know. And his friend didn't get back to him. So I just picked one. And I was like, well, you know what? If it's not good enough, then, you know, you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt, I guess. So, but anyways, it came in time. His friend said, oh yeah, that's good. You know, of course, he's like, well, what about this one? And my first thought was, I'm not spending $60 on a costume that you will probably lose one of the pieces to, and it might never get worn again. So no. So I spent, I think, $30, which, you know, I mean, the costume was not super high quality, but it also was maybe a little better than some of those polyester nightmares that you feel, ugh, that don't breathe at all. And it's a good thing the fabric breathed, because it was a warm, warm, warm day. He said, I was so hot. I said, yeah, I bet you were. I was like, at least you weren't, dressed up like some of the people probably were, and, full battle armor and whatever. But he did have fun. So it's not, well, it's funny to me because I wasn't the one inconvenienced. So originally it was, okay, we're going on Saturday. Okay, great. They have tickets already. Okay, cool. So get up on a Saturday morning when I didn't have to, right? Get him ready, get him out the door, kind of fell asleep on the couch, and my phone beeped, and I just figured, whatever, text message. And then my phone rang. And I was like, whoa, who's calling me? And his name and his number come up, and I'm like, oh, why is he calling me? People don't call, people text. We call when there's something wrong. So he says, the tickets are for tomorrow. And I said, what? They got all the way to the Renaissance Fair. I mean, maybe 5 minutes away. And then realized the tickets were for the next day. And because, you have to kind of buy your tickets in advance, they couldn't just, use that ticket to get in that day. Yeah. So they drove over an hour away, only to realize that it was the wrong day. So he was calling to see if he could go the next day. And I said, well, we kind of had plans, but I mean, if you really want to go, I guess. And he did. So, I had to get up again the next morning. I was like, why? It's the weekend. Why am I being forced to get up? And obviously I didn't have to get up, but I wanted to make sure he ate breakfast and stuff, because, I had no concept of how expensive is food going to be, and, all those things. And it's a good thing I sent him with some cash money, because every little thing, and I didn't really realize this, which I'm glad I sent him with some money. All the extra fun things, well, they weren't included in your ticket price. Because why? Why would they be included? So him and his friend, they wanted to do the sword fighting. And they wanted to do this, and they wanted to do that. Well, none of the stuff they wanted to do was free. So the sword fighting, there was axe throwing, there was some kind of slingshot thing. Yeah, it all was extra money. So he spent $80 on just activities. He didn't buy any souvenirs. He didn't buy any food. Luckily, his friend's parents bought food. Yeah. He spent $20 to have his friend arrested and paraded around. I said, was it worth $20? Because in my mind, I don't know if that's worth it, but they enjoyed it. And I'm like, okay, well, I gave you the money, so you get to do what you want with it. But, yeah. So I wish, it's so frustrating places do that kind of stuff, I can't even imagine taking a giant family or just a few people to a Renaissance fair like that, and all the kids wanting to do axe throwing, and all the kids wanting to do this, and all the kids wanting to do that, and kind of looking at it and being like, okay, this is literally going to cost us $100 just to do this one activity for the whole family. It's ballsy. It's annoying. So there are a few colors on this kit. This little triangle right here, it looks black on this symbol, but it's blue on the canvas. Same with the, what do you call it, Saturn symbol? Black on here, but green on here. I struggled so much. I thought maybe that the symbols and things were wrong, because I'm like, there's no green flying, flying saucer. There's no green planet in my drills, oh my gosh. Then I kind of was like, well, there is a planet, but it's not green. You know, and then I looked up the symbol on the side, and I looked and I said, oh. And I'm sure that's probably because, and I could be wrong. Okay, I am really messing up these drills. You know, it's probably easier to see a green symbol versus a brown symbol on the canvas. But yeah, I was thrown for a loop. I was looking all over the place going, okay, did I lose some drills? Like, what is going on? But no, nope, it's just a different color. So yeah, Renaissance Fair was a success. I'm sure they made a crap ton of money off of people, you know, wanting to do all the stuff. Jeez. But he was tired afterwards. He's like, we walked all day. And I said, yeah, that's what you do at those things. It's not just a pop in for 5 seconds and then leave. You know, when you pay 20 something or more dollars to go to an all-day festival, you know, some people want to get their money's worth. It's not like when you have a membership to the zoo, right? Like, because we have a membership to the zoo. And, you know, you go and you walk around for an hour and a half, and you're kind of like, okay, I'm done. Because, you know, you pay the yearly fee. And so you don't feel bad if you leave after a short amount of time. Yeah. He was tired. He's like, I need to shower right now. And I was like, yeah, you do. Because you probably are smelling a little fragrant. I can only imagine the body odors at that Renaissance Fair. Whew. Whew, no, thank you. I can't go to things like that because I can't control my face. And my face would have been making faces. Yeah. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Yes, I swear, the last 2 weeks have been so discombobulated with just normal schedules not being normal. My mom and I went to the grocery store a little bit later. I think it was last week. You know, normally at the grocery store at the same time every week, Monday morning, and we had something. I don't fully remember why. We had to go later. And man, it is crazy. The people are so different at the grocery store at different times of the day. You know, we are so used to going to the grocery store at, 9:30 in the morning. So you have I call it the morning crew, right? Well, we went around noon, so it was the lunch crew. And oh my gosh, just different kinds of chaos going on. It's like they're not really putting stuff on the shelves anymore. Now it's just all these people, it seems like frantically shopping on their lunch breaks, and, people with a lot more kids maybe going grocery shopping before they go in places. Whoa. It was like, we need to come back. We need to go at our regular time. I don't like this. And then, like the people at the grocery store who are working, sometimes, I was like, where's all of our regular people? Where's my cashiers? I don't know where they are. I was like, I'm such a creature of habit. Oh my gosh. I can laugh at myself, I can laugh at my own self and how much structure I really do appreciate. And this is another one that it's a dark brown, but on the canvas, it's an olive green. Just please don't. I don't need to be confused. No, thank you. Oh my gosh, my Dr. Pepper was warm. I sat down to film. I was like, okay, here we go. Go grab my Dr. Pepper. And one of the children, apparently took the last cold Dr. Pepper out of the fridge and consumed it and did not replace it. Yeah. So I am now, because I'm going to have to be mean, I am going to put sticky notes on all of the Dr. Peppers in the refrigerator that I put in there, because I am the only human being in this house that puts soda in the fridge. I just, fine, whatever. But if you take something out, put something new in to replace it. Simple, 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 simple. And yet nobody does it. So I'm going to have to start being mean, and maybe I'll just start charging people. Like, oh, you took my Dr. Pepper. Okay, $5. Thank you. because I only get one soda a day, you know, and I want my soda to be cold. And I know some people will say, just put some ice in it. I don't like ice in my soda at home. I don't know why. I can go to a restaurant or, you know, fountain drink. That's fine. But at home, I just feel like the ice melts so fast and then it waters it down and it makes it not carbonated and it just makes me kind of sad. And so I don't like to do it. And again, if I am the human being that is putting the soda in the fridge, I want it to be there when I go and decide I want to consume it. I don't feel like that's so much to ask. I really don't, but apparently it is. So maybe I'll set up a hidden camera or something and put a little like alarm, like a pressure sensor under the Dr. Pepper cans. And if somebody moves it, it'll make a loud noise or something to alert me to the treachery that's going on in my refrigerator. Yeah. So I have warm Dr. Pepper. Not how I want to start my Monday. Not at all. My husband, he can just, I'm like, are you a serial killer? Because how do you just pull a warm vanilla Coke Zero out of the cupboard and just drink it? How? You know, I don't know. Some people don't like their sodas cold. I like them cold. I don't want to drink it warm. If I have to drink it warm, I will. But I got to be pretty parched and pretty desperate for that soda. I got the protective coating put on the inside of my car. That was, I mean, I'd say it was eventful, but it really wasn't eventful. I literally had to bring the car down to the dealership, you know, drop it off. And they made it sound like they would need the car for a day, and so I could get a rental car. And I said, okay, cool, great. Well, I didn't really realize that in order to get the rental car, because I just figured they had a loaner car. That was not the case. So I dropped the car off, and they're like, okay, somebody from Enterprise will be here. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? So somebody comes from the rental car company and picks me up, takes me off the property. I was like, whoa, what's going on? Takes me to the Enterprise office, which is, I mean, it's literally down the street, you know, but again, I was not expecting that. And then I got to stand there and like fill out this paperwork and all this crap. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It took probably, I don't know, 40 minutes to get the stupid rental car. And then 2 hours later, I get a call from the car dealership and they're like, okay, your car's done. And I said, what? Because they made it sound like they were going to need it for at least a day. And she's like, yeah, it's done. I was like, I went through all that just for, I mean, I could have just, you know, brought something to the dealership and sat there while you did it instead of doing the rental car crap. So then I was like, well, okay. I made the teenager come with me because Sassy Lassie wasn't home. And I was like, I need to go get my car. And he's like, I don't want to go. I'm like, I don't care. You can go out, leave the house, you know, explore the world. And then I did promise him we would stop at Sonic on the way home, you know, which food is always a motivator. So we did that. Luckily, I didn't have to go back to the car dealer, you know, the what do you call it? Car place, you know, and do the whole rental car thing. They're like, oh no, you know, just leave the keys and they'll come and get it. And I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that, but I didn't realize that they weren't going to need it for that long. Yeah. So we went to the Sonic, and because we don't ever go to Sonic, I don't know how you like order stuff. And so we were looking at the menu and I pressed here to order. Well, I just thought I would tap things on the screen. I didn't realize I had to talk to a human. So I was like, oh, crap. I'm not ready. I'm sorry. You know, I probably just sound like a complete moron. And because we don't go to Sonic, I don't know like what this is, what that is. You know, they're asking me all these questions like, you want to add bacon? You want to add this? And I'm like, no. You know, I'm not used to so many questions. And I really wanted to try the pickle flavored stuff. You know, they had the I don't know, it was like a collaboration with a pickle company. And I really wanted to try the pickle slush, but I was a little scared, you know, because that's a big cost investment for something that's going to taste gross. And there was really not enough people around me to, you know, make it worthwhile. So I didn't get the pickle slush, but I did get the pickle fries. They were okay. I probably could just buy pickle flavored seasoning salt myself and probably do it at home for cheaper. Yeah. But so literally no liquids had been in my car since I purchased it. And they put on the special coating to protect everything, blah, blah, blah. And we're driving, and I said to the teenager, I said, okay, hold on to the drink, please, because, you know, don't really need it going over the brand new car. So he's holding on to this lemonade, limeade, whatever you call it, by the top of a cup, and he's just like barely holding on to it. You can see the condensation going down the sides, and he's just casually holding on to it. And I'm, you know, paying attention to the road, being a good driver, and he's just casually holding it. I was like, if you drop that in my car, you will regret it. And he's like, I'm holding on to it. And I'm like, no, you're not. Hold on to it, please. He's like, well, you just got the protective coating on everything. So I was like, I don't need to test it today. What if it needs time, you know, to cure, like resin? I don't know. Just because I have the protective coating doesn't mean I want to test it out. So yeah, no beverages were spilled. No gloops of ketchup or anything were put on the seats or anything. But oh my goodness, I was in wreck. I'm like, oh, I know the newness will wear off eventually, and you know, then you get things and you spill and whatever, but I'm not quite there yet. It's been like 2-ish weeks. I'm not ready. But I have not gotten gas yet. It still says I have 300 and some odd miles before I need to fill my gas tank up. And it's been over 2 weeks, so I'm kind of like, all right, cool. This is awesome. It still shows that I have over like a half tank and over 300 something miles. Like, okay, I could get used to that for sure. Because gas is pricey. And I swear our state keeps adding in gas taxes and all sorts of junk. And I'm just like, nobody wants to pay $5 a gallon for gas, you know? I don't feel like the gas is worth $5 a gallon. And I don't feel like the roads are getting fixed with my increased gas money, you know? No, thank you. I don't think it is. I am just making a mess of these drills because I am trying not to get my head in the camera shot. Come on, pick it up. There you go. Oh, Amazon is somebody's here. I don't know who. Amazon, post office. I got no clue. I got no freaking clue. Sassy Lassie did help me with some cooking. I guess it was kind of baking. Not really baking though. We made no-bake like protein balls where you use, you know, peanut butter and protein powder and, you know, chia seeds and oatmeal and stuff. And you make little protein bites. That was good. We did double the batch, thank goodness, because everybody gobbled them up super fast. She's like, they're almost gone. And I said, yeah, that's what happens when you make, you know, yummy treats. People want to eat them. She's like, well, I didn't get to eat as many as I wanted to. And I said, yeah, that's what cooking's like. You think, oh, I can't wait to eat this. And you come back later and it's freaking gone. Kind of like my Dr. Pepper. Yeah, now she likes Dr. Pepper too. First it was just me, and then the teenager started drinking it. And now she's like, I like Dr. Pepper. I'm like, oh, great. So got three people vying for the Dr. P. Yeah, so we made the protein bites, and then I said, well, we could make chia seed pudding. That I used to eat that for breakfast. And she's like, chia seed pudding? And I said, yeah, it's super easy. And she's like, okay, cool. Parenting fail, or maybe parenting win on my part, because she thought it was pudding, pudding, not chia seed congealed in milk. Yeah. So we're mixing it up, and she's like, this doesn't look like pudding. And I said, oh yeah, no, it's kind of like an overnight oats, but with chia seeds. And so, we added some protein powder and some other things, but she tried it the next day, and she was trying to be nice, but I could tell by the look on her face of, no, I don't think I will be eating that. So I had to finish off the other 2 mason jars that we made with the chia seed pudding. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind it, but it's a texture thing. I have to put in, like some banana or some nuts or some chocolate chips, obviously, just so I have something to kind of chew. Same with like yogurt. I cannot just eat yogurt. Just, I don't know, it's the smell and the texture. It has to have other things. Otherwise, it is a no-go for me. And then she helped me make dinner. I was like, heck yeah. Well, she just wanted to use knives, but I'll still take the help. And I was asking her, I said, can you cut up these mushrooms? And she's like, well, I don't like mushrooms. And I said, well, yeah, but you get to use the knife. And so she cut up the mushrooms for the pasta dish. I'm encouraging and being supportive, but I was also trying to go on a time frame, and it took her probably 30 minutes to cut up these mushrooms because she kept getting distracted and talking and walking away from the cutting board. But she also wanted to make the mushrooms practically invisible because, like she said, I need to cut them up really small so I don't know that I'm eating them. Yeah, so the mushrooms were very, 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 very tiny, very tiny. But it took forever. And so after she cut the mushrooms, she was like, I'm done. I don't need to help anymore. And I said, alrighty, thank you for cutting up the mushrooms. Good job. So try to, end on a positive note, right? You don't want the cooking experience to be traumatic or, end in arguments and frustration. I mean, usually I'm frustrated when I'm cooking anyways, just because I know that the amount of cooking that I have to do, of prep work and cooking and everything, is not going to be equal to the amount of time and enjoyment people have while they're eating the food. Prime example, we had taco night the other night, and the amount of time that it took to get everything out, to cut everything, to do this, to do that. Nope. I mean, it was like maybe 10 minutes and people had eaten and they're like, okay, I'm done. I'm like, seriously? I did all this. And of course, I'm like, okay, but I need to make more of this. And is this enough? Is this enough? And, you second guess, is this enough rice or is this enough beans or whatever? Yeah. I was like, I don't know how people cook for restaurants, because I would either cook way too much or way too little. There's no happy medium when I cook. There is no just perfection level of just the right amount of leftovers and just the right amount of food. No. It's either somebody is still hungry or we could eat for a week, but then nobody wants to eat the leftovers. Let's see, we did, oh my gosh, so we went, it's been a busy 2 weeks, but I guess the most exciting thing, we went to a outdoor obstacle course place where they have, you have to basically wear a harness and clip in and do all these things. and it was like 3 or 4 stories high. And we've done, well, teenagers done one before. I've never gone on it, and neither has the husband or Sassy Lassie. And so I asked, and I said, hey, would you guys want to do this? Yes, we do. Like, okay. I knew teenager would be fine because he did it before, and he was like, you know, Spider-Man crawling up the side of a building. Sassy Lassie, not so much. We went to one place, it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and they had kind of a above the, you know, trampoline park kind of like obstacle course thing, and did not go well. But she said she wanted to do it, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's kind of expensive, so let's make sure we really want to do it. She did. So we started off, and we got the, you know, you get the training and all that, and we started off on the littler kids area, and that was, yeah. We went on one thing, and then, you know, the platforms and the ropes and the things, you know, things kind of move around to make it a challenge. And she was not having it. She's like, nope, I can't do this. And I'm like, yes, you can. No, I can't. Teenager was already gone. You know, he's already 1 story up. Husband went the other way. So here I am, you know, trying to encourage her, like, you can do it. I know you can. You know, look at, there's, you know, everyone around here is safe. Nobody's falling to their death. Nobody's suing that I can tell. Nope. You know, crying, freaking out. And then, you know, there's other people around, right, that are trying to do the obstacles. And so you only have so much room. And so if somebody is coming and they're on a platform near you, you have to kind of get out of the way a little bit, and it's just, yeah. Well, there's these littler kids than her, and they're just, you know, flying through, letting go. So they're just being held by the harnesses, and she's like, why are they doing that? What's wrong with them? You know, why are they here without an adult? I'm like, because they probably just wanted to do it. Maybe they've done it before, you know? And so she's panicking. Husband finally, you know, talked with her and got her to try it. We went up a different way, and she's like, I want to go on the zip line. Like, okay, that's like, oh, up there, you know, that's like 4 stories up. There's some harder things you have to do, you know, but nope. She's like, I'm doing it. Okay, great. Well, we got to the last part. The last thing before the last platform, before the zip line. And it was, you know how sometimes we see something and we can do something really hard, but then something that looks so simple seems completely just not attainable. That is what this last obstacle was. It was a log, not a spinning log, just a stationary log like this. Here's this platform, there's the log, and then there's the next one. There's a wire above head, you know, that you can hold on to, like you can physically reach it. But for some reason, this stupid freaking log, that was the thing that we weren't going to do. We're going to go on the thing that sways and rocks. No, that's totally fine. Stationary log, nope. So we're panicking, we're freaking out. Teenager had already gone down the zip line. That was like his 3rd or 4th time. And so he's like, hang on, I'm coming back up. And so other people are trying to go to the zip line. And so we're trying to move out of the way so they can go past us. Husband comes up. He's trying to encourage her. Just like, oh my goodness, you know, like I didn't think she'd do it. And she's like, I can't do it. And so he reached his hand, you know, to try to help her. I held her on one side, and you know, she took the 2 steps over the log, and like, oh, yeah, that was it. I'm like, yeah, you know, she did it. And then, you know, so then there's the zip line, and you have to do all these super complicated things to, you know, to clip into the zip line safely, which I appreciate the safety. I do. But then my husband goes, okay, well, you need to go first to me. And I said, I'm sorry, what? I'd never been on a zip line like that. And he goes, well, you have to go first. So when she goes, you're already on the platform. I was like, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And he literally set the zip line thing up and he's like, okay, go. And I'm on this platform and I'm looking down and I'm like, do I push a button? And he's like, no, you just go. I'm like, what do you mean you just go? I had to stand on this like rickety, like raised thing. And he's like, well, you just jump. I'm like, I can't just jump. You don't just jump. Like, my voice is getting all super squeaky. When there's these kind of kids looking at me like, look at this lady. She's all freaking scared. But I'm like, common sense tells you. I'm on a platform and the ground is below. I'm not supposed to just step off the platform into who knows what. No, you're not supposed to do that. So he's like, you can either go or I'm going to push you. And Sassy Lassie's like, yeah, let's push Mom off the platform. I'm like, don't you freaking dare. Don't you push me. So I did. I was like, okay, here I go. And I kind of leaned forward and I started on the zip line and the poor people behind me or underneath the zip line, because there's just like picnic benches, people just sitting there. I screamed so loud. I mean, dogs a mile away were probably looking around like, somebody using a dog whistle? Because I was shrieking. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I realized I didn't know what I was supposed to do when I got to the other end, because there's kind of like a ramp to the platform. And so my husband's yelling from the other side, kick your feet and land on the platform. I'm like, what? So I kind of slammed into the platform. Then I started to go backwards. I was like, oh my gosh, no. So I got on the platform. My heart is pounding. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing ever. And I'm barely out of the way. I had to unclip and move to the side. And I'm thinking, okay, she is not going to do this. She's going to be on the other side. She's going to be losing her shizzle and they're going to have to get down. And then I'm going to be on this platform and I'm not going to know how to get off this platform and I'm going to be all alone. Nope. I barely was out of the way. And she's like, here I come. And just zip lines across the field. Just like laughing with joy. And I'm like, oh my God, she's going to die. Never mind the fact that everyone I had seen on the zip line did not perish. Teenager had gone on it several times. He didn't perish, but her, no. She was going to die. But she didn't. Nope. Nobody died. So I caught her and I was just like, oh my gosh. And the husband's like, okay, get on the next one. Because it's like 4 zip lines in a row. I was like, we have to do this again? And he's like, we have to go all the way to the end. I was like, okay. And so it was a little easier. The more zip lines you do, I guess. I was shaking by the time we got to the end and I got on the ground. I was like, okay, I'm done. And she's like, we're going back up. And I'm like, okay, you guys have fun. I'm just going to sit here at this picnic bench with the bottle of water and can collect myself. But it was fun. I will say it was fun, but exhausting. So they went back up. Then they decided to go to the difficult section, right? Because now she's a freaking daredevil. She's not afraid of anything. She can throw herself off a zipline thing. She can go on the unwobbly log. So they went to the freaking hard part of the course. And Teenager had just gotten off of that area. And there's even more elaborate zip lines and all this other stuff. And he's like, she's going to the hard section? I'm like, yeah, apparently. Apparently she's a daredevil now. So it was fun. But oh my gosh. I was a little scared. So they got done with that. And then there's like a rock wall that you could go on. There was axe throwing, which the axe throwing was fun. I was like, we should totally build one of these on our property. Just a little, cage where we can throw axes at the wall. I think that would be fun. Let's see. And then there was mini golf. That was so lame. I would not have spent actual money on that because no, thank you. And what else? Oh, there was laser tag. I do not understand laser tag, and maybe it's me. Could be me. But I feel like that was not worth the money. We paid for one price, right? So it was like a pass. So you get to do everything for a certain amount of time. And there is no way I would have paid for that laser tag, because I don't think that laser tag fully worked. Number one, because I tagged multiple people and it said that I did not have any confirmed shots. And I said, no. I was like outside, like I like literally like outside somebody's head tapping their little sensor, and no. But my husband, oh no, he got us plenty of times, right? I think all that deer hunting is maybe gave him a little advantage or something, or maybe he paid the laser tag kid to turn our, sensors up, or I don't know, but I did not like the laser tag. That was not my thing. I was like, this is stupid. He's like, you're just because you're losing. And I'm like, no, it's not even working. Like, I barely would stand up and all of a sudden my thing would be like, because I would, be tagged and be perished, I just like, nah, that's fine. So yeah, that was our yesterday, man. I was so tired. And then, everybody's like, we're hungry. I'm like, of course you are. Because you just climbed a ropes course for 3 hours and, defied the laws of gravity over and over and over. Of course you're hungry. Of course you're hungry. We actually were going to do I was thinking on the weekend, I was like, let's do something different, right? And so I had looked up escape rooms in the area, because I was thinking, I've always wanted to do an escape room. I think it might be fun. And so I found one that was not that far away from our house, actually. And I was like, oh, wow, we don't have to go downtown Seattle to do an escape room? That's cool. Well, and my bad. Parenting fail right here. That's me. I didn't really look at the price of the escape room before I asked the children if they wanted to do the escape room. So we decided, okay, we're going to do this one. We're going to go on this day. Husband and I were like, okay, yeah, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Well, I go to actually buy the tickets for the time, and it's saying, it's $10 more because it's on the weekend. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. $10 more a person. And I'm like, okay. And there's a what do they call it? Game master. There's a game master service charge, basically like a tip to the game master. And I'm like, okay, what exactly is the game master going to do? Like, because it said in the thing that, you can have the game master help you or not. And I'm like, okay, but is the game master going to do something special for us? I mean, not to sound bad, but isn't that their job? Like, isn't that what they're being paid to be at the escape room, to facilitate, right? Like, if you have trouble, you ask an employee for help. So I have to tip this person like $20. Okay. But because it was just the four of us, you're basically renting, the room. And it was $80 a person. And I was like, oh my gosh. And my husband was like, absolutely effing not. And he did not say, he said the real word, not the censored version. He's like, that is not going to be worth it. Because like, let's say you had 8 people. Well, it would be less per person. So if you had several groups of people going, it wouldn't be the one person is paying $400. We just could not justify it. I was like, I don't know how magical it's going to be for, it says, you have the room for 100 minutes. What if you beat the escape room in like 30 minutes? So I'm really supposed to be okay with paying $400 for potentially 30 minutes of fun? No. My husband goes, it's not like a psychic hotline number or, one of those, 900 numbers that you'd see, on HBO advertised. Like, no. We're not paying $400 for for potentially an hour's worth of you know, fun. I was like, nah, I don't think so. So I'm gonna keep looking for escape rooms, and maybe if we really find one that we want to do, we will have to branch out and maybe ask if anyone else wants to go to help cover the cost, because holy crap, that is just, that's a lot of money for, you know. And then I started thinking about it and I was like, oh my gosh, what if it's like the children's museum? You know how sometimes you go to like a children's museum and it's been open for a while, and so certain things are more worn down, you know, certain things don't work as well. What if you go into this escape room and it's been done so many times that you can see kind of like the scuffing in the floor, or you can see an area that looks a little more worn in the foliage or something? Like, what if it's obvious where the clues and the stuff is hidden because it's been worn down? I mean, $400, and if it's not even, you know, challenging, no. Yeah. It's like, I'm not the most responsible with money, but even I have my maybe not moments of maybe that isn't a good idea. Oh my gosh. I mean, and I asked the kids, I was like, do you know, I mean, luckily they have some common sense, thank goodness. Because I said, I was like, I don't know, guys. I don't know if $400 is worth it. And they were like, no, it's probably not going to be that fun. And I was like, okay, good. So at least nobody was mad at me for, you know, suggesting something and then taking that option away. Like my husband said, he goes, I might as well just give them both $100 and we can go to the mall and they can at least get something in return for that $100. You know, and Sassy Lassie's like, yeah, let's go to the mall. And I'm like, we're not going to the mall. I'm not going to the freaking mall. No. You know, and teenagers like, yeah, I'll buy myself a video game. But yeah, so no escape room for us this time. Maybe in the future. Maybe I can find one of those, you know, Groupon deals or something. But yeah, I mean, my eyes got so big. And he's like, because I was looking at it on my phone and he goes, what? And I'm like, you will not believe how much it is. And he's like, what? Is it like, you know, like $50 a person? I was like, more. He said 60, and I said, more. And he's like, I don't care how much it is for that. And we're not paying that much. I was like, yeah, no, we're not. So, all right, this is where we are going to end this today. Let me zoom out. All right, we are working on the little doggy friend. Fun fact, you know, as you do when you're diamond painting, I was working on this and, you know, you're kind of right there in front of it. I didn't realize that was a cat until I stepped backwards and I said, oh my gosh, it's a kitty. Look at it. It's so cute. So now we have another friend right there. Oh, yay. All right, that is going to be it for me today, guys. I will again have so many links in the description box. Go and check out Reid's Putty, and there is a coupon code. I will have that listed down below as well for the special collab putties. And yeah, that is all I can think of. That's going to be it for me today, guys. If you have not, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing, hearting, farting, doing all the things. And I will see you again very, very soon. Big awkward hugs. Bye, guys. Hi, birdie. Boop. You want to say hi to your fans? No, you're just going to be far enough out of camera shot? Nope. He's too good for us. I'm sorry. He's too good for us. Stupid throat clearing. My gosh. Why don't you just trip over your words a bunch more? Okay. Challenge accepted. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Okay. That was the tray moving, not me farting. Okay. Okay. Thanks. I can't see. Let's see. Let's take a drink of warm Dr. Pepper. Ugh. Duncan is licking himself. I hope nobody can hear that.
Oh.
Oh, yikes. That's a big burp. I really don't want to do blacks on camera because they're gonna be trashy. Zoom, 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 zoom. Boop, boop. You guys are so cute. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.